We are now going to use the lasso tool. We're going to do it on this muscle. So if you zoom in, zoom into that. And as we mentioned earlier, Photoshop includes 3 lasso tools: the lasso tool, the polygonal lasso tool, and the magnetic lasso tool. You can use the lasso tool to make selections that require both freehand and straight lines, using keyboard shortcuts to move back and forth between the lasso tool and the polygonal lasso tool. You'll use the lasso tool to select the muscle. It takes a bit of practice to alternate between straight line and freehand selections. If you make a mistake while you're selecting a muscle, simply deselect and start again. You most likely will mess up. If you do, it's okay. The key is don't quit. Don't be a quitter. You gotta persist. And the number one rule in life is don't panic. Because the lasso tools are manual, they can be most time-consuming way to create a selection. They are typically most useful for selecting simple shapes or adjusting an existing selection. So you should be zoomed into the muscle. We're going to select the lasso tool. Right up here is where you see that. You see there's your lasso, polygonal, and magnetic. So select your lasso tool. And we're going to start down here on the bottom left corner. Now, the tricky part about this is you're going to trace as accurately as possible. Do not release the mouse button. We're going to go slowly until we're comfortable with the lasso tool. If you make a mistake or accidentally release the mouse button during these next few steps, just choose Edit, Undo, and start again at what we're about to start. When you reach the corner or a straight part of the edge, we're going to press the Alt key on Windows or Option key on the Mac, and then release the mouse button so that the lasso pointer changes to a polygonal lasso shape. Do not let go of the Alt or Option key as you do this next thing. We're going to start clicking along the edge of the muscle to place anchor points and following the contours of the muscle. Be sure to hold down the Alt or Option key throughout this process. This lets you create perfectly straight segments along the selection. The selection border is going to automatically stretch like a rubber band between anchor points. And when we reach the tip of the muscle, we're going to hold down the mouse button as you release the Alt or Option key. The pointer will again go back to a lasso icon, and then we'll drag around the tip of the muscle, holding down the mouse button. And then when we finish tracing the tip and reach the straight segments along the lower side, we're going to hold down the Alt or Option again, release the mouse button. We'll click along the straight segments of the lower side of the muscle as needed, and we'll continue to trace the straight and curved muscle edges until we arrive back at the starting point of our selection at the left end of the muscle. All right, and then you'll click the starting point of the selection, then release the Alt or Option button. The muscle will then be entirely selected. Leave the muscle selected for the next thing we're going to do. All right, so we're going to start about right here. So I'm just holding down the mouse. I'm dragging along the edge the best I can. And if you've never done this before, you may not be very good. You'll notice that I'm not very good either. This is not something I've done very much. Oops. My mouse is jacking up. All right, now I'm to a straight point, so I'm going to hold down the Option key. Let go of the mouse. Now I'm just going to go here and click, click, click. And you see that this line is going as I click. It's making straight lines. And then when I get to the tip, I'm going to click and hold. I'm going to keep my mouse held down, let go of the Option key. Now it turns back to the lasso. Ooh. I'm not very good with this. Got to have a steady hand. All right, when you get back to a straight part, I'm going to hold down the Option or Control key, let go of the mouse, and then click, 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 When you get back to there, I'm going to release the Option key, and you see now what I've done is now selected. Not perfect. I'm sure doing the Object Selection tool would have been better, but we're learning new things. To make sure the selection is the shape you want when you use the lasso tool, end the selection by dragging across the starting point of the selection. If you start and stop the selection at different points, Photoshop draws a straight line between the start and end points of the selection. All right, so now we're going to rotate the muscle. Make sure that your muscle is still selected. Let's go to View and then Fit on Screen so we can see everything. And we're going to press either Control on a Windows computer or Command on the Mac computer. And we're going to drag our muscle up. Okay. Another way to move things. The pointer changed to a move icon when we press Control or Command. We're going to go to, excuse me, we're going to go to Edit, and then we're going to go to Transform, and then we're going to go to Rotate. There's a tip. You can constrain rotation to common angles such as 90 degrees by holding down the Shift key as you drag the bounding box. There's a little tip for you. So we're going to move the pointer outside the bounding box so it becomes a little, see how it's two-headed little curve shape like that? And then we're going to drag to rotate the muscle to a 90-degree angle. I held down my Shift key and you saw that. You may not have seen it, but you see that it's 75, 60, 45. So it makes it easy to get it to 90 degrees. Once you've got it 90 degrees, you can press Enter or check that box. If necessary, select the Move tool and you can reposition it. Remember, you can use your arrows. If you want to leave a shadow like you did with the others, you can position it. See how you've got the shadow on your, so I'm going to have a little bit of a shadow. Command D deselects it. Voila. Let's click File and Save.